The purpose of this tutorial is to give you a brief overview of how to use a Mac to create graphs and to present your data. So today we'll be covering, first and foremost, introducing you to calculating the mean and standard deviation using Excel, plotting that data using an XY scatter graph, adding error bars to your data points, adding trend lines, and finally how to change your scales to those of semi-log. Just a quick word of caution, the data that we're going to show you is purely for demonstration purposes and doesn't actually represent what a real dictyostelium growth curve should look like. So here's an example of what your data might look like as represented in an Excel spreadsheet. What this student has done is taken cell titers at 3 different time points. Your time points in hours are shown on the left, and for each time point, the student counted their cells 3 different times. Good practice for obtaining an accurate number. So before you create a graph of data that looks like this, you should be aware that Excel will use the data in the left-hand column as the x-axis. The data in the columns on the right will be used for your y-axis. Be aware that you should keep your values only numerical because Excel won't read any letters that you insert there and you'll get error messages. So the first thing that we're going to do with the data in column 2, 3, and 4 is calculate an average for each time point. So the way that you will tell Excel to do this is to first hit equals, pinwheel of doom, and then A. And what you'll get is a list of options. Click average. Now to tell Excel exactly what to average, highlight the 3 data points for time point 0 and click enter. Excel will automatically calculate the average for those 3 points. Repeat this procedure for the rest of your time points, or simply click and drag, and Excel will be smart enough to know that you want the average for every column, or row rather. Now you have averages. The next thing we'll do is calculate standard deviation. This can only be done, keep in mind, when you have more than one value, more than one y value for any given x value. Here we have 3 counts for every time point, so we can calculate standard deviations. To do this, you're going to hit equal and then S. Again, you'll get a list. Click standard deviation, abbreviated as STDEV. Now what you'll do is you'll highlight the corresponding data set for which you'd like the computer to calculate the standard deviation and hit enter. Now click and drag and it will be done for the other rows. Now we have all of the data necessary to not only generate a scatter plot, but also to generate error bars. To generate your scatter plot, highlight the necessary data. Our x-axis will be hours of growth, and on the y-axis you want your averages for all of the titers taken. After highlighting, you will copy and paste in the appropriate column. You want your hours of growth right next to average and standard deviation to make it easy for the computer to generate the scatter plot. Now, if you just click paste, Excel is going to give you an error. What you have to do instead is click Paste Special. Choose Values and click OK. Now you have everything in an organized format so the computer can easily generate a scatter plot. To generate a scatter plot, what you first want to do is highlight your data, click on Gallery, which is located up top, and here it was already open, so if you click it again, you'll get an option. Charts needs to be highlighted, and from here you can choose the scatter plot with the lines connecting the dots included. When you do this, Excel will generate your graph. The next thing that we want to do is include our error bars. So what you'll do first is click on your line. That will highlight all of your data points. Now, you right-click and click Format Data Series. This brings up a new window in which you can choose the option on the left called Error Bars. Now what we want to do is generate error bars in the Y direction. So choose Y Error Bars, click Both. That means you'll be calculating the difference in the positive and negative direction. And click Cap. That will include horizontal lines on the top and bottom of the generated error bars. Because we already calculated standard deviations, you want to choose Custom and specify value. Here you will tell the computer what values to use to calculate the error bars. What you'll do first is click on the little menu next to positive error value, and you will highlight the necessary data set. What you've just done is told the computer what values to use for calculating the positive height of the error bar. Click Enter, and now the computer knows how high that error bar needs to be. Repeat this process for negative error value. Click OK, and now the computer has generated your error bars. Good. If you want to add a trend line to your graph, what you will do is right-click the line and click simply Add Trend Line. And you will see your trend line appear. If one wants to add the equation, like the slope and y-intercept, it's as simple as clicking those options on the window that appears after adding your trend line. Finally, if you're interested in converting the y-axis to a semi-log plot, highlight the data and double-click it, choose Scale, and click Logarithmic Scale. Now the computer will transform it into a semi-log plot. Finally, labeling your graph is as easy as choosing the Toolbox option at the top of the window. What you'll do next is make sure Chart Options is highlighted. Here you can add titles to your Y and X axis. And even to the graph itself. So this concludes our demonstration. We hope you find it useful and stimulating.